Super duper quick indeed. That is the excitement that is building up.
Wonderful. We went live and she doesn't have a mic.
Yeah. Where is the mic for Gargi?
No, you didn't
Maybe
give me
Gayatri
a
took
mic.
it.
Does Gayatri have the mic?
I think
Maybe.
I think she took
Oh,
it.
there.
Oh, there it is. Exactly.
Very good.
The mic was very much here.
See,
Very bad, very bad.
I
yeah.
don't have any memory of doing
So chaotic start to what is expected to be
To be a blockbuster.
chaotic but fun next 5 days.
5 days, yes.
5? Are we optimistic?
No, I'm going maximum, and with rain it might just be 6. You don't know.
Like was the case last time around.
Yeah,
No,
no,
see,
no.
the thing is, I'm not hoping it will go for the 6th day because, see, the rain
one
has
is.
to be so intense that it washes out an entire day. That is the playing conditions there, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, 2 years of hard work, and you're finally here. The 2 best teams in the world are competing for the World Test Championship final. India versus Australia at the Oval. Very similar. Conditions can be as equal as it can be. First time ever you're playing a match in June at the Oval. Never has happened. You're going to play with the Duke's ball. Yes, Duke's ball. Neither Australia nor India have that much of experience with it. Third factor, both the teams have had very similar build-ups. For example, Australia won 4, India have also won 4, lost 1, drawn 1 in this entire World Test Championship cycle. And India have played more cricket because IPL. Most of the Australian players have not played that much of the IPL. I think only David Warner, Cameron Green in this squad. That's it who have played the IPL. You had Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne all play in the county. Cummins and Stark have practiced in London, so has Lyon. And we all know what the Australian 11 is going to be because, as mentioned by Pat Cummins in the press conference, that Scott Boland is going to play. And Cummins, Boland, Stark, Green, Lyon. That's going to be your 5 bowlers. We are not so sure about the Indian cricket team though, because looking at the first visuals, and Nikhil is also going to join us live from the Oval, it's overcast. As predicted, that it will be overcast on most of the days, but chances of rain are very, very minimal, except on day 4. Day 4, you're expecting a little bit of rain, say about 20% chances of rain, but it will not be enough to derail play that much. So that's about the build-up that I can mention. Very equal. Can India break 10 years of ICC pain? First off, I will say yes, they can very well do it because of 2 reasons. June always has produced some good results for India.
And bad.
A bit of bad, but yeah, you look at the good. June, you won your first World Cup ever, 1983, June 25. You won your Champions Trophy in 2013, that was in June. You reached the final in 2017.
Wasn't that July though?
No.
June, 2017, June. Even 2013, June. And India...
I think 17th or the 18th of June.
Yes. And India finished second in the World Test Championship cycle. And teams that have finished second, in this, if you look at 10 years of ICC trophies, they have won most of them. New Zealand finished second in 2021. What did they do? They won. Now, let's see if India... I'm optimistic that India can end 10 years of pain in this World Test Championship.
The team that ended second on the IPL table also won.
Yes. I've mentioned, I've done it in the video. So, yeah, I'm confident. What about you guys?
I mean, look, it's 50-50. I think it's really going to be a case of the Australian bowling versus the Indian batting. I think that's really going to be key because I think their bowling, yes, it's pretty good. We know that for a fact, but are they going to necessarily get conditions which are going to be in their favor? That's the thing. The conditions here are the big question mark because if they can get the ball moving early, lethal. If they don't, I think they'll struggle a bit, and then that's where with the Indian batting, I think that's a slightly weaker point for them because again, I'm not saying it's a bad batting lineup, but it's patchwork.
It's patchwork,
It says a lot that whatever team any one of us pick, the top 5 are set in stone.
Yes.
You can't make a single change there.
Yeah.
There's no option of a change. So I think the real
But
key
that's
question.
good, no?
It is in a way, sure, but I still think you're missing 2 key players in Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant. More so Pant, I would say, because he was someone who could have been an X factor in these conditions.
Plus that
Bowling-
psychological grip over Australia.
Yeah, he loves playing against Australia and loves playing in English conditions.
Yeah.
His Sena record is pretty good. But yeah, I think it's 50-50 really because I think each side kind of has, strengths, weaknesses, let's say. And it really depends on what happens session by session, what kind of conditions we get, and to be told, everything's a little bit of a mystery right now. So
Yeah, and I think going in Australia are favorites because because I don't need to specify why, because we all know how the Australian batters have been doing in the IPL. We've seen their form, and I think they will carry the momentum forward into the WTC final, of course. And then we've got the lethal bowling lineup, and I think Josh Hazelwood going out is not a loss for Australia, because Scott Boland is coming in, who's a like-to-like replacement and just as lethal for the Indian top batters. But since it is overcast today, we're having updates from the Oval by Nikhil, of course.
Yep.
And for that reason, I think it's going to be very important to win the toss today. That's going to be very important today.
Exactly. And let us not read into the past history of the
Yes.
Oval, what
Doesn't
has
matter,
happened.
yeah.
Just take it day by day.
Not just day by day. It can't be taken even day by day.
I think
Why
it'll be
not?
session by session.
Yeah.
Because you're playing for the first time ever in June. Anything can happen. And remember, the weather in June in London is very, very different to the weather that you'll get in July, August or September.
Yeah.
And don't
Very
forget, normally
unpredictable.
Oval is always the place where the last test of the English season is played internationally. So you're playing in whole different conditions. And if you want an indication as to how different conditions can be, cast your mind back to the T20 World Cup last year.
Yeah.
We kept talking about, you normally don't play cricket in Australia at this point, not international cricket. And some matches you were getting crazy amounts of swing, some you were getting insane bounce, some you were getting slow wickets. So again, I'm not saying white ball conditions are going to differ to red ball conditions, but yeah, there's going to be a few surprises for sure.
I think it's just funny, the visuals that I just saw on the TV. The Indian team was okay wearing jackets and everything, and then it panned to the Australian team wearing scarves and topi and everything. Is it that cold over there?
It is.
I mean,
It's not that cold.
No, in June
I think
time,
it
In
must
fact,
be
overcast.
Sunday,
must
I
be
know
cold
my
for the
folks there in
Australians.
London were having a picnic out there on Sunday. Yesterday too, the sun was out a bit. We saw it when Sunny Bhai was there with Nikhil yesterday. So it's been rather sunny. You look at these visuals as well. The sun's out. So this is in fact ideal for India. If the sun can stay out for the maximum amount of time, that is what the Indians would absolutely love. They wouldn't want things to be overcast, but it's London weather, as we all know. It could be sunny right now. In about 20 minutes time, it could be very much overcast. So we'll have to see how the weather gods play, how kind they are to India, how unkind they are. Whatever it is the case, we'll get to see that. But conditions, yes, of course, will determine how the two teams go ahead and select their playing 11s as well. Something that went wrong for India
Horribly.
the last time around. We were in London. You hope that the same...
You weren't in South
You were in
the
London.
Southampton
Yeah.
in England, beg your
He
pardon.
forgot about them because Southampton got relegated from the Premier League this year.
I mean, see, it's very equal, as Shane said. For the first time, both Rohit Sharma and Pat Cummins are leading an ICC final. They'll be leading their teams in the ICC final for the very first time. And on top of that, if you look at what tilts the advantage slightly, I will say very, very slightly in favor of Australia is your first test wins in England. Australia, if you look at for the past 20 years in England, they have lost the first test only once. That was in 2013 when you lost the Trent Bridge test by
Right now,
1.
I won't be too carried away with whatever numbers I've had to say for both the teams at this venue, because it's a one-off and anything can happen in a one-off. I'm not too sure if numbers will give a very clear indication, or let's say for me, in fact, I would say, because India also have had decent performances in England.
Yeah.
You forget the 5th test match that was played last year. Before that, you were 2-1 ahead in the series.
You won at the Oval.
Exactly, and so for Australia as well, they've had success, more success than India have had in England. But having said that, it's one-offs and anything can happen in one-offs.
Because remember, 2021, one number did not change. And it remained even after the final ended. That was New Zealand's record. New Zealand have never lost to India in England, ever, whenever they have played there. Be it ODI World Cups, be it even T20s, even a T20 warm-up they have never won against, India has never won against New Zealand there. So, in 2021, that stat remained. Now, depending on what the pitch will be, I mean, it could be grass and you could see swing. You will see swing and seam because it's cloudy at this point in time. And you see the Indian team also, they are quite hooked up with their sweaters and those.
I have a feeling Indians, the Indian team really like their new sweatshirts, because even the other day at the presser as well, Rohit was wearing his hoodie.
It is windy. By the
It
way.
is, it is.
No, everyone likes those hoodies. I mean, I like them more than the jersey, to be told. But
No, I like the jerseys more.
no, the jersey looks like a Real Madrid.
Real
knockoff.
Madrid kit, yeah. In fact, the other day we were having this conversation. I think you weren't around. We were just hoping that the Indian team also replicates the kind of success that Real Madrid have over there.
Oh, there is the pitch report that Kumar Sangakkara 6 millimeters of grass on this oval deck, and
It is a little too green for my liking.
It's like Southampton.
It's so green, it'll make you sick.
Then it's advantage India. It is. I mean, look, whenever you've been presented with a green pitch, cast back to Lords 2014, you couldn't differentiate between the outfield and the pitch. It was that green. But what happened?
I'm not
India
too
won
sure
that match.
that little shaving that we were thinking of, or rather talking of last evening, I don't think the grass been trimmed.
I think we need to tell Dinesh Karthik, boss, thoda setting
I
bada
think since yesterday it has been trimmed. There's a quite a difference from what we saw yesterday.
So there were two pictures that were doing the rounds on the internet. I think those were both shared by Dinesh Karthik only. I don't see a substantial difference from what was presented, I think, the day before and what we see right now. Even when there were reports of there being a little bit of a trim yesterday evening after the Australian practice got over, because they practiced in the evening. And given those, I had a feeling that there would be little it'll be lesser grass out there.
From 9 millimeters has been shaved to 6 millimeters. What more do you want? Make it totally brown. See, remember, this pitch.
Indoor pitch.
No. This pitch is not under the jurisdiction of the ECB or the BCCI or CA at this point. It's under the jurisdiction of the ICC. So, whatever decisions you make, he almost tripped there.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma was walking down the stairs and tripped. Is that a good omen or a bad omen?
Don't read too much into it. But if it is green, advantage India.
Yes.
I don't think so.
It is.
No, I disagree.
It really depends on who bats first today.
Yeah, I think personally seeing that pitch. Oh, perfect.
Oh,
We're
perfect.
going to be joining us
The
live.
Oval Cricket Ground, this is where all the action is. Show your jersey. Indian fans out in full number. All I could see, and what you can see behind me, let me quickly give you a glance. All you see are blue jerseys, because it's India all around. I can even see the Indian tricolor. There you see. So that's how it's setting up right now for that big finale of the World Test Championship. I'll speak to a few fans as well, get you a sense of what they are thinking at the moment, how excited they are about this game, and what do they think the Indian team should do. But that's coming up a little later in the program. We'll also listen into Sunil Gavaskar, who will tell us the exact thing that India must do if they have to win this final. But first, let's quickly listen in to the two captains that spoke to the press on the eve of the game, and then they spoke about their strategy, what might just be their playing 11. Let's listen into that first.
It's a chance for Team India to end a decade full of pain and disappointment. They came close in 2021 but fell narrowly short.
Okay, so you saw the mood at the Oval at this point. The Indian fans are obviously going to outnumber the Fanatics, the Australian group who's there. Remember, the Fanatics don't come until the Ashes. They will be there at that point, which is why Tex is asking me that, or to all of us, which is more important for Australia, this month's Ashes or this? I think it's both. I think Australia do not prioritize what is not important and what is important. For them, both are important. If they can win both, it will be a glorious summer. If they lose both, it will be, they'll have to do a lot of soul searching for them, because rarely has it happened. Remember, they want to win in England for the first time since 2001. They haven't won a series in England since 2001. They came close in 2019, but that was 2-2. Here, Australia can have both. Either lose both. They are shaving.
Substantial shaving. It's much different from what we saw yesterday.
It is. I mean,
it was much greener yesterday and pretty shaved off now.
Yeah,
I think
from
it's a
9
great
millimeters.
pitch.
It's down to 6 millimeters. So it's okay. I mean,
also interestingly, there are a lot of protests going around London for, just stop oil protests, and the protesters did stop the English team bus, I think a couple days ago, and because of that, the ICC is preparing two pitches, has prepared two pitches in case there is some damage done to the pitch from the protesters or whatever. But the ICC clause has come in where if there is damage to one of the pitches, they will play on the other one. So there is a possibility that two pitches will be used, but that's just the worst case scenario type of thing,
Yep.
It's not really something that will be done for sure.
It will. So yes, that can happen. Remember, protests are going on in a big way, and one hopes it has happened in the past. In 1972, that group of vandals had come and destroyed the pitch in Leeds in 1970. So match had to be abandoned because of that. So let's see how this goes. I hope no security hassles. We just get to see good cricket.
Yes.
And the Indian fans will obviously be outnumbering the Australians. It will be like you're playing in Mumbai or the Chepauk or at Eden Gardens, because 90% of the crowd is going to be Indian.
I think anywhere in London, there are more Indians than
Anywhere, I mean, anywhere in the world, there will be more Indians. So.
Yeah, that's right.
And we are tossing back to Nikhil.
Right now. So crowds slowly but steadily building in, getting inside the stadium. And as I said, the color that is dominant here, no surprises, is the color blue, the color of the Indian team. I've got a few fans with me. What are you expecting to see today?
Well, I think it really depends on toss, but don't know what exactly happened there.
Yeah.
And but if India bat first, so hopefully 250 plus.
You want India to bat first in these conditions?
No.
Yeah.
No, never. India bowling first. I think it would be a bad decision to bat first. Bowling first. These conditions, 10:30 start. Ball moves around. I have played cricket here. I have played cricket here, and ball does move around a bit. So it's not going to be easy batting first.
What do you reckon?
I suppose it should be bat first because the fourth innings will be must over here. And as soon as the day passes by, it will be more beneficial for the spinners.
Okay.
So I want Indian team to go bowling in the day 2, third session so that the spinners will come into play. And if they manages to surpass the first session today, then they can score big runs like 300, 350 today, because under second session and third session today, it's going to be a sunny weather. That's being predicted according to the weather conditions.
Okay, so I beg to differ there, because it's not about the spinners here. It's not about the spinners. It's about the seam bowlers and the batsmen. And if like now I heard just Australia's back.
Okay. So India won the toss, just to let you know, India won the toss and they have decided to bowl first. I'm not surprised. In fact, the updates that we were giving with me is Sham Sharma. He was the manager of the Indian team very recently when they were playing a series at home. And the latest news, that's the big news against Australia. The big news is that India have won the toss. No surprises, just looking at the grey skies up there. And the kind of grass that was left on the pitch, they did shave off a bit of a grass, but still left a lot on it. Not surprised that India have decided to bowl first. Also, you must remember that chasing in England hasn't been that tough. The English cricket team has shown it in the recent test matches that batting fourth here is not too much of a problem, unlike India, where no team really wants to bat fourth. What do you reckon? Good call.
It's a good call, and whether we bat first or bowl first, India is going to win. This is my confidence, basically, because we have beaten them recently in last few years, and our confidence level is very high. Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara, they both played in England. They are familiar to the situation, the conditions here. And look at the form Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli is. So our confidence level basically makes the difference, and we are on top of that today.
Okay. How was your experience at that time when India were playing Australia and you were the manager of the Indian team? Earlier times when India played Australia, I mean, many players have spoken about how they would be intimidated as well, playing in Australia. But I don't think that's the case with this team now.
The conditions are totally different here. In India, we were slightly, I can say, lazy in our approach, basically. We won the first ODI and then we were slightly taking it casually. We can't take them casually. So that's what Virat Kohli said yesterday. Every moment of this match, we have to fight and we have to be on the top of it. We don't have to give chance to the Australians. The Aussies can bounce back. Only problem for me is Steve Smith.
Steve Smith, by the way, just to give you an update from here, Steve Smith did a lot of practice yesterday. Steve Smith, in fact, after the practice was over, the team was leaving. Steve Smith and Manas Labuschagne came back and did another 45 minutes of practice. That practice is going to be needed today. You know why? Because Australia are going to be batting in overcast conditions. And the playing 11 for the Indian team, they're gone in with 4 seamers. No surprises there. India playing 4 seamers, only 1 spinner. And anyone wants to take a guess who that 1 spinner is? Mr. Manchanda?
Ashwin.
You say Ashwin?
Jadeja.
Jadeja.
I think Jadeja.
Yeah, Jadeja it is. They've not played Ashwin. So Jadeja is the lone spinner. Does it surprise you that they've not gone, because you picked Ashwin, does it surprise you they've not gone with an Ashwin, considering they have so many left-handers in the team?
Ashwin is a better choice, I think. And from my knowledge, Shami is a crucial bowler for India. If he performs well, India are going to finish this match within a 4 day.
If that's how Mohammed, that's how much confidence the Indian fans and folks that have traveled all the way from India have on this Indian team. If Shami performs well, that's going to be important. Mohammad Shami, by the way, just to give the practice sessions that I've been seeing of the Indian team the last few days, Mohammad Shami has been the standout bowler in the nets. I saw him knock off Virat Kohli's stump also in the practice.
Most of them were facing problems when they at net they were facing Shami, and most of our best batsmen were facing problems. So if we continue with the same form, even Shiraj is also will be crucial. So I think we are going to win. Don't take it lightly. They used to play psychological game with us. Now we are playing psychological game with them.
He always bring experience, and he has working a lot with his bowling after that, and throughout the last 4 years, the things he bring to Indian cricket team, like bowling attack, and I think he's the most experienced bowler, and he's really in good touch. Like you see his last 2 IPLs, he's phenomenal, and I think he will be the icebreaker for India.
Okay, Mohammad Shami, everyone's talking about. The 4 fast bowlers, giving you an update on the 11. The 4 fast bowlers that India are playing. No surprises there. Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, I think the 2 automatic selection. Then there was a bit of a question mark, Umesh or Shardul. But because India are playing 4 fast bowlers, both Umesh and Shardul Thakur are in the 11. The lone spinner is Ravi Jadeja. So that's India's bowling lineup. As far as the wicketkeeper is concerned, if I heard my producer correctly, it is KS Bharat. I think they have gone with KS Bharat in terms of wicket keeping. So that's pretty much the 11 that most people were expecting. So KS Bharat is your wicket keeper. That was the only other area that people were discussing, whether you go in with an Ishan Kishan, KS Bharat. Let me ask the fans. KS Bharat, right choice?
Actually, everybody's saying he played 4 test matches early on and he should be carrying on. I was thinking differently. I was thinking going towards the Ishan Kishan's route.
Why? Because of his batting?
No, the people talk about the batting most of the time. His keeping is not that bad either, because there is going to be a different task keeping here against the quick bowlers. Well, I wanted a little bit more aggression, making it in batting a bit longer as well, and having another lefty batsman. So that's what I was thinking.
But I am thinking differently, because KS Bharat is more professional in keeping, because he is keeping since long in the domestic as well. And I think here the ball will move around in the air, swing a lot throughout the day. So we need a proficient wicketkeeper. We don't need a proper batsman in that position, because if KS Bharat scored 20-30s, that's also perfectly fine. But if somebody who is not very experienced and doesn't play any international matches in Test cricket in England, like Ishan Kishan, and if he drops 1 catch in an innings, so that might be very costly to the Indian team.
Okay, final question from all 3 of you before I let you go and continue with the programming. When I asked all of you, you picked Jadeja, right? Between Ashwin and Jadeja. Why do you think Jadeja is the better choice?
It was a no-brainer. The last 2 series, Ashwin hasn't even played here, and also, as I said, here is not about the spin. Spin is not going to win your game. They're holding a one end. The quick bowler is going to take the wickets, and the spinner going to be holding end. So Jadeja is the best person for that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think his fielding also comes into play. Like earlier, we used to see
and batting
as well. Like in last 2 scenarios in Australia, he run out Steve Smith, that perfect run out.
Just come this side. No, you be here. So go ahead.
Yeah, actually the run out which dismissed Steve Smith in the Australia last time that was the perfect timing that I think somebody should be in the team.
Yeah, good memory. I agree.
I consider that Jadeja as a batsman, so obviously like that strengthens the Indian batting as well, and obviously it has his bowling as a pace as well, and as we've seen Labuschagne and Smith, he has that rivalry with them. Like he bowled them out like quite a few times in recent series. So I think Jadeja's got the edge, and he'll be he's a good call.
Okay. So you heard it from the fans. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good game. Enjoy the game. So you heard it from the fans, right? Each of them with their own opinion. KS Bharat seems to be the consensus candidate of the fans as well. There were a few that wanted Ishan Kishan, but KS Bharat, it is. That was expected. So no surprises there. I think the point of contention and a point of debate for a few days to come from now on is going to be about that one spinner, Ravindra Jadeja or R. Ashwin. And I think it was a very close call. And it's interesting that Indian team have gone with Jadeja, probably based on the fact that Ravindra Jadeja continued to play in the matches that India were playing here against England in the series. Ashwin wasn't getting a look in, and maybe they've continued with that trend, maybe of that experience of Jadeja having played. What's interesting though is Ashwin's got a great record against Australia. We all remember how he plotted dismissals of Steve Smith, of Marnus Labuschagne. He's not going to be there in the playing 11 this time. So that's going to be interesting. But that is a debate you could have probably once the Australian inning is done. Australia are going to be coming out to bat now in these overcast, cold conditions in England and on a pitch that's got a little bit more than a tinge of grass. Let's also listen in to Sunny Gavaskar. I spoke to him ahead of the game last evening, and these were his thoughts on the playing 11, on what strategy India must have. Because you spoke about that one factor, which is the differentiator right now, you can look at it both ways. India, yes, they have miles, as far as the kind of, cricket that they've played. They were playing in the IPL. Australia coming off an off-season, majority of the players. Of course, you have the two in Smith and Labuschagne playing county cricket, just as you had Pujara playing county cricket for India. But which one do you think is a better position? Because I understand your point of view of saying played a lot of cricket, but it's a different format, people will argue. You're coming from white ball cricket, different sort of an approach, different sort of conditions, different color of the ball, whereas Australians probably have been practicing a lot with red ball. So how do you see this?
Good players at this level, it doesn't make a difference to them at all, because it's just it's a mental adjustment more than anything else. The fast bowlers will know that they have to bowl a slightly fuller length than the hard length that they bowled in the IPL, because the slightly fuller length is likely to get the edges. The spinners also know that instead of trying to bowl under the bat, they'll have to bowl the good length and try and get the ball to turn. So these are all, adjustments they're going to make mentally. And all our bowlers are very experienced. Mohammad Siraj has been playing now for 3-4 years. Shami has been around for about 7-8 years. Ashwin and Jadeja have also been playing for years. So as far as these top 4 bowlers that we are looking to get the 20 Australian wickets, they're experienced and they'll know how to bowl. As far as the batters are concerned, you've got Pujara, who's been in form over here in county cricket. Kohli has been in outstanding form, outstanding touch. Gill has been in superb touch. So they all have the confidence, and they know that what they have to do in England is, rather than looking to meet the ball early like they do in T20 cricket, because you've got to try and get towards the ball and just bang it away, they're going to play, meet the ball late.
Okay.
Allowing the ball to do its bit and then play. And I think that's just a mental adjustment. And these players are very experienced, and they should be able to do it.
You are watching our special program, The Test of Champions, coming to you live from London City, right outside the Oval Cricket Ground. Play is about to start right now. Just a quick update. If you're joining us late, India won the toss and have decided to put Australia into bat in these overcast conditions. Now, the Oval Cricket Ground has been a happy hunting ground for the Indian team, relatively. If there's one ground they've done much better than other grounds in England, it is the Oval Ground. And it's not just in the recent past, but if you look at India's test history. So this is how India has done at this ground. Also take a look at how Australia did. And I'm afraid their record here hasn't been great.
All right, then. So that's the update from the Oval. Have we talked about the 11s here?
Already talked about the 11s from Oval. But my take on it is, yes, it was expected. The moment I saw overcast conditions, you're not going
You
to
knew
play
you're
two
not
spinners.
playing Ashwin.
Yeah.
Ashwin, let's be
my
specific.
take's different because I won't just go by what we're seeing right now. I would also want to consider the fact that the conditions there in London change. You're also looking at the 4th, 5th day when the pitch breaks down, the spinners do come into play a bit more. And this for me isn't India's best playing 11. My best playing 11 would have definitely had Ashwin playing for India and not Shardul Thakur. So I'm not the most pleased, let's say, with this playing 11, albeit I'd hope that this 11 also gets us the result that we all want here in the studio. But a little disappointed there not to see Ashwin. He's been your leading wicket taker in this cycle of the
But
World
all
Test
in
Championship.
India. All in India.
That's fine.
All in India.
I know for a fact that he's got the wood over a couple of Aussie batters. Also, when there's about 5 left-handed batsmen
6
in the Australian side, why not will I trust Ravichandran Ashwin?
I had a feeling. In fact, I had even today, someone had asked me, and I'd posted it on my Instagram. This was the exact playing 11 I picked. I knew, considering the way the conditions were looking, overcast, green pitch, I'm like, they're not going to play 2 spinners, 100%. And if they have to play if they have to play 1 spinner, they always prefer going with Jadeja. And knowing the fact that the middle order, like, you have a Rahane there, Bharat there, it's a little bit on the suspect side. Nothing against Rahane, but he's not played Test cricket in a while. Bharat in India wasn't really looking that great with the bat. I had a feeling you'd extend the batting lineup. You'd bring in a Shardul at 8. So I understand this thing. Yeah, I understand your logic also that you could have stuck with an Ashwin, but I honestly don't see this pitch breaking up as much. I don't see it being that hot.
And you know the way Rohit was talking yesterday about the pitch and the conditions, and especially the reverse swing. I think Indian management really wanted all hands on deck by the pacers, and I think it's all about the reverse swing because that's what they're expecting from the ball, from the conditions.
I just hope this isn't an admission on India's part that they don't have trust in their batting lineup.
It is, partly.
Okay, so I look at it in 2 ways. Look, Shardul Thakur, last time he played at the Oval, had success. So, looking at the pitch, looking at the overcast conditions, you had to play 4 paces. Either if it was Jaidev Unadkat or Shardul, that was another thing altogether for the variety aspect. But no, you had to play Shardul. Because, okay, you can say coming out of injury, remember he didn't play most of the IPL because he had an injury.
He wasn't bowling, he played quite a few matches.
But he didn't bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe he was being preserved for the World
Quite
Test Championship final if you look back in hindsight. But anyway, see, you made the same mistake in Southampton when you played 2 spinners. So we are tossing back to Nikhil at the Oval.
Model. It's lovely to see when I see fans of fast bowlers. Shardul as well in these conditions can be dangerous.
Yes, he can be very dangerous if he can get a right length and ball.
Because he's a all-rounder.
Yeah.
It's a nice option in the batting also. That wise is good. And he's a wicket taker.
Okay, and what are you expecting? How do you reckon this test match is
India
going?
will win this time.
Only 3 days is finished match.
India will finish the test match in 3 days.
Yeah, India win.
India will win. India will win.
So,
We'll be the champions.
Because it's a good batting lineup and bad bowling lineup. That wise it's 100% is a win India.
and what do you make of the fact that they've played 1 spinner, that Jadeja, no place for Ashwin?
It could be tricky because the conditions are overcast on the first day. So it could be very helpful for us. So the first session will decide where we take it from there onwards.
Yeah, good call for bowling in these conditions.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because no call good. After is good bowling. So this is the 100% is a good call. That wise is 100% is a good.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us. Have a good time. I hope you enjoy the game, and I hope your prediction comes true. See you guys. So big fans of, you could see, of Shardul Thakur, of Mohammad Shami. They are out in full force, going to be supporting those Indian fast bowlers because they are going to be the key here. Overcast conditions, I can't stress enough on that. Just going to show you a quick glimpse of the grey skies that we've encountered here in London this morning. Certain days have been bright and sunny. Today you got the grey skies, so it's going to obviously allow the ball to swing, also seam off the pitch, which has a lot of green on it. It's cold as well, so all of that is going to come into play, and I think it was a good toss for India to win, and then probably the right call has also been taken where they've decided to bowl first. They're going to focus on their bowlers doing the job pretty early on, because if you get those quick wickets, if you get the
Yes, you've got a second inning, but if you got them out quickly in the first innings, then one team is always behind the game, chasing the game, and that could prove to be a big advantage going forward. I'm afraid that's all the time that we have on this edition of the Test of Champions, our special program that we'll be bringing to you from here in London every day ahead of each day's play, as well as then in the night at 11 p.m. after the final ball of the day has been bowled. Sunny Gavaskar is going to be joining us, analyzing the day's play. For the moment, this is Nikhil Naz signing off from the Oval Cricket Ground.
Okay, so yeah, many people are quite okay with this playing 11 that's been picked. You can't doubt any other playing 11 that can be picked, because see, who were the other options that you had? In Southampton, when the conditions were very similar,
You played two spinners.
minus no rain, you played two spinners, but what happened?
Yeah.
It didn't happen. And if you want to have any precedence, in Southampton, New Zealand won the toss, chose to bowl, and they won the World Test Championship final. But it involved discipline from the New Zealand Pacers, and that is the reason why they could win. And they luckily got a 32-run lead. India could very well have had the lead, but the tail contributed yet again. Kyle Jamieson in particular contributed with the bat. And now we are going to see the ICC Test maze being presented, and let's just see what happens. Oh, Ross Taylor, love that man.
Very interesting. So I guess now they'll have this entire ceremony. Then
I think the national anthems and then
National anthems
the
thereafter.
first ball to be
Yep.
bowled at the Oval.
decent crowd so far, considering.
Also, did we
Obviously,
touch upon the fact that KS Bharat was picked over
No surprise.
Ishan
No
Kishan?
surprise, not at all.
Giving anyone their Test debut in a WTC final,
Agreed.
no matter the circumstances, I'm just not a big fan of.
Okay, so yes, the Indian cricket team will observe a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the Odisha train tragedy ahead of the start of play on day one of the ICC WTC final at the Oval. This I had pointed out a couple of days back that yes, there will be
I
a
think they'll be
moment of
wearing black
silence.
armbands as well.
Yeah.
They are. in
Yeah,
fact.
the team mourns the deaths and offers its deepest condolences to the families and friends of all those who tragically lost their lives. To express solidarity with those affected, Team India will wear black armbands.
That's it.
That is, yeah, it was indeed a very
It's
tragic incident that happened a couple of days back. You can see that in Balasore,
Balasore.
288 people lost their lives in a horrific 3-train collision that happened. So,
In fact, you see the umpires as well wearing
yep,
black
yep,
armbands.
yep,
The
yep.
Australian team as well.
Yes. So, yeah, rather an emotional moment. And there it is. The two teams now who are going to contest for the World Test Championship final. The Indian team and the Australian cricket team. So, we were all saying that this playing 11 is as best as it can be. But what is very important? Discipline and making inroads, because you've got the best bowling conditions that you have now.
Yeah.
Fresh Duke's ball, overcast conditions, you have good pitch,
Yeah.
and no better than Shami and Siraj to optimize it.
Absolutely.
And a rare decision from India to win the toss and bowl fast.
I think seeing the conditions, you had to
It
do it.
was likely,
You had to
very
bowl.
likely.
Yeah.
But although, see,
I was interestingly reading up somewhere, I think for the first time since that Bangalore test 2015-16, first time that India won the toss and opted to bowl first.
2015-16, oh, the Australia, 16-17 you would be in.
15-16,
16-17,
16-17 was the
16-17.
Australia series.
Yeah. Oh yes, at that time Australia managed 175 and KL Rahul hit 91 and Ravichandran Ashwin took 6 for 50 in that match to level the series.
Who did you say?
Huh? Ravichandran Ashwin. And I knew that, see, if it was two spinners only, then he had a chance. If there was only one spinner, it was not going to be him.
Yeah.
Because, DK is ringing the bell at the Oval. And yes, now the 1 minute silence.
At times you really want to be DK because a couple of months back he was playing the IPL. Even though he didn't get runs, now he's there in at the Oval. He's commentating.
No, maybe you don't want to be
Yeah.
okay.
I don't want to be DK all times, every day of the year perhaps, because I'm playing the IPL, I get to do commentary, I'm back playing the IPL, I play for India also at times. Why not?
I think his India days are done now.
Yeah, the 2022 T20 World Cup was, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, now I think it's the national anthems at this time. Yep.
Yes.
The first will be the Indian national anthem, followed by the Australian one. So we are building up about 5 minutes to go for the WTC final. The first ball that will be bowled. I think Shami and Siraj will open.
Yes.
Then Umesh will be first change and Shardul will be your second change.
Yes.
I think that's the way it is. Unless they open with Umesh and Shami, Siraj is first change.
Umesh opening. Right idea.
He has done it in the past.
No, I know he has, but recently, if his form is anything to go by, his erratic verse tends to come out when he's opening. So.
But then it could be interesting to see what happens because, like we talked about, Duke's ball has the tendency to swing later in the day.
Yep.
So maybe, they open with Umesh and Shami and then Siraj comes in later or any of Siraj or Shami come in later.
Because in the recent series, when you couldn't play that many paces, it was Shami and Siraj who had opened the bowling.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very crucial call. Oh, some of the fanatics are here. The Australian cricket group, that's called the Fanatics.
Oh.
So like the Beige Brigade of New Zealand, these guys follow them all over
The
England.
Barmy Army.
The Barmy Army, yeah.
Why is New Zealand considered the Beige Brigade? When you said it first, I thought it was the West Indies fan group.
No. The Beige Brigade, you remember in 1980s, New Zealand used to wear
right.
beige kit.
Yeah,
the beige kit.
Yeah, now I remember.
So fans of that, and they became synonymous with New Zealand cricket, and that's why they are called the Beige Brigade at this point.
Good.
The West Indies beige is slightly more darker. This is lighter beige. So that's the reason why. So the Fanatics are also there, but in a very small minority. Very small. Let's see now how Australia cope up, because remember, Siraj and Shami are the two bowlers who troubled them immensely in this.
Yes.
In the past couple of series that you've had. So
Nice fireworks.
Fireworks.
Yep. So there it is. We are going. The Duke's ball has also been presented, and is that Richie Richardson?
I think as far as optics are concerned, you see a much better job than that was done 3 years back.
2 years back.
2 years back, 21. Yeah.
No, but what could you do? Because you had to play in a bio-bubble. And
21, that was the different factor.
And remember, Lords was considered, but Lords unfortunately didn't match the bio-bubble protocols at that
because
time.
with Southampton, with the Rose Bowl, I think there was a hotel right nearby.
The hotel was in the
premises.
stadium.
There we go. Yeah.
So that is why maintaining...
There are a couple of these stadiums over there. No, the Rose Bowl has it. Old Trafford has it.
Yes, that's why if you remember in 2020 when cricket resumed, when England started playing, when they were playing West Indies and then later on other series, Pakistan, mostly those stadiums that were being used because of this reason. It fit bio-bubble protocol.
And you couldn't get much of the fans in also. And Southampton, unfortunately, is in the southernmost part of England. So the popularity and the capacity of the Rose Bowl isn't great.
Yeah.
Whereas you're in London, heart of England. And basically, that is where you will get all this. See, the crowds will be a lot more. Organization will be a lot better. The most important point, no COVID.
Yeah.
That's the reason. Yeah, COVID is there. It's not gone away. But people are living with COVID now. So that's the reason why you could have this kind of an arrangement.
COVID is the new flu.
Yeah, it is the new flu. And out come Khwaja and Warner.
Yes.
So this is how the batting will pan out. It will be Warner, Khwaja, Labuschagne, Smith and Head. Maybe Green and Head might swap. Then Alex Carey, he will not have to worry about attacking spin because he only has one spinner to take
The
tackle.
Sweep Meister.
And you've got 3 out and out pacers in Cummins, you may say Cummins, Stark and Boland, followed by Nathan Lyon. And I think the key bowler in this will be Scott Boland.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Metronomic consistency, he'll keep hitting that same
You
spot
remember
until he gets
in
movement.
Hobart and in Melbourne, very similar conditions.
Melbourne, he got a 6 for if I'm not wrong.
6 for 7.
He's a legend in MCG conditions.
Yeah,
he just does something else over there.
Yep. Remember, similar conditions, he really troubled them. So that's why. Let's see.
Shami has the ball.
Yep. Mohammad Shami will obviously open with, I hope,
But if he
Siraj.
can get his seam-up deliveries right,
Yeah.
oh boy, in these overcast conditions at the Oval, what joy.
Watch
will be-
out.
What
Watch out.
joy. will
The
be
purple
watching.
cap winner here. Let's see how I think he'll adjust very quickly. Shami, that's the one good thing that you can.
Because he doesn't change much in IPL as well.
Exactly.
His lines and lengths remain the same. He is that conventional test bowler for you who has his basics so strong that he excels even in the limited overs format of the
Correct.
game.
That's his advantage. He doesn't need to change his bowling style to suit tests or ODIs or T20s.
It's just his ability to, bowl those tight overs, not giving any room to the batters, having this very, very tight line. I think that's the best thing about Shami.
The last few tests we may see David Warner.
No, he confirmed 2024.
2024. If he gets picked in all the Ashes games also, because remember, apart from Shami and Siraj, he has to deal with Broad and Anderson.
Yeah.
Two bowlers against whom he's never had success against that much. Broad, I think, has dismissed him 14 times. Yeah, 14 times. Anderson's dismissed him about 8 times, if I'm not.
He's very lucky there's no Jofra Archer there this time.
Oh yeah. If Broad doesn't get you, Jofra will.
Yeah.
So 3 slips and a gully in place.
Let's see out this first over, then see
Yeah,
how-
we'll see out this first over. I think there'll be prodigious
Ball
swing.
coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Remember,
If you look from a distance, that strip is just not very distinguishable from the
outfield. But remember, the pitch, you may see, we all be flummoxed by the green, but remember, underneath the surface, it can be very soft also, so it might be slow. It can happen. Remember, Lords, you could only get movement in the air. Of the pitch,
You're getting
there was, slight hint of the pitch also. The green is probably their fresh season and this time, and up. So, Warner, it's going to be trial by fire for David Warner.
See, with Warner in the IPL, his problem wasn't scoring runs, it was doing it at a pace.
Yes.
Here he doesn't really have to worry about that. So we can see through that first session. Really, I think that's key. If you're Australia, you see through the first session, it probably gets a little easier as the day goes
Hope
on.
for the sun to come out as well.
And remember, 5 tests last time, he just made 95 runs. That 5 tests at the Ashes in 2019 here, he really struggled. And remember, alongside India, England is the other place where David Warner really struggles.
There.
It was this close to hitting the stumps.
Wow.
You could tell by Shami's reaction, he knew he had him.
Very late movement in. Very
Look,
late.
even Bharat.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Look
Superb.
at that.
This is why we needed Bharat.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Oh
that.
my god.
It bounced over the stumps.
Talk about late swing.
It was late swing, yep.
Talk about late swing.
Yep. Wasn't that close. Yeah, it bounced over the stumps.
But
so
great grab there.
great grab.
Yeah, very good grab.
Speak of athleticism.
He has to make amends for that Ahmedabad nightmare that he had.
That was a
Dropped
good
catches, didn't keep well, and you got short leg there, unconventional short leg. Yeah, you got an unconventional short leg there as well. So remember, Australia for 4 to 5 days they were practicing in County Ground, Kent,
Yes.
and India were practicing at Arundel. So in both India and Australia, that's why the advantage is so nullified, because both didn't have warm-up games, both didn't play intra-squad games. The one thing that changed in 2021 was that New Zealand played 2 tests to get acclimatized, and two tests against England, and COVID, because since they were coming from New Zealand, they didn't have to serve any quarantine in England. India had to serve a 2-week quarantine period, which impacted them in a big way.
Yeah, in 2021, you have to remember,
Was the peak,
yeah.
and New Zealand had somehow kept COVID out. Somehow, but they gave up totally in the Omicron wave. So
That's okay, I think most people did.
Yeah, I mean, the Omicron wave really hit New Zealand hard. You saw more deaths there as compared to the Delta and the first wave. So let's just see. So far, late movement. Pitch seems to be okay. Seems to be okay.
Yeah,
It's not zip and swing off the wicket that much, but this is just the first over. Still about 90 plus overs to be bowled.
Maiden to begin with.
Yeah.
Expected.
Run scoring will not be easy for the first session.
Yeah, I think after that it will get easier. Though.
Should be.
Yeah, and
Should
I
be.
think it's going to be Siraj from the other end, because he
So
was.
should we see even
warming
that
up.
over? And
No, it's okay.
or we can call it quits.
Yeah, we'll call it quits because we'll have to come back again in a couple of hours, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So remember, 10 o'clock for a 3 to 5 are the session timings, 3 to 5 p.m. IST, 40 minutes lunch, 5:40 to 7:40 p.m. IST is the second session, 20 minutes of tea till 8, 8 to 10 if your overs are not finished, 10:30 p.m. IST.
Yeah.
Half an hour extension of play allowed, that is the playing conditions. If it was England and it was only in a bilateral series, 1.5 hour extension allowed. Because they don't start play early, they end play late.
Yeah.
So that is the way we are looking. So lot of stuff coming up. The first over of the World Test Championship is up. Mohammad Shami is bowling, and I think next over will be Mohammad Siraj. We'll be back in 2 hours time.
About a couple of hours, huh?
Yeah, me, Shane, Gargi and Harshit will be back for all the action. More sporting action also coming up. Remember, Roland Garros is also shaping up to be an epic. I'll be back with a special preview because one of the semi-finals is Alcaraz versus Djokovic.
Yeah.
Yep. Uzi, and yes, it is Mohammad Siraj. 3 slips and a gully in place. And, yep. That's about it. So from all of us here, bye-bye. We'll be back with more sporting action.